Hello, I'm Monica Garcia of the LAUSD Board of Education, and welcome to Families Matter. Joining me today is my colleague, super social worker, Blanca Gomez. Our goal is to provide information so families can help their children graduate and stay safe in school. Today's topic focuses on wellness centers in the LAUSD and the services they provide to our students. But first, a chance for us to talk about the latest regarding LAUSD and our families. Blanca, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you. So you are a children's advocate and you are now coming into LA Unified and you've visited some of our wellness centers.
Yes, and they're, you know what, they're so beautiful. I want to speak, especially about Belmont Wellness Center. It's just the moment we were driving up and I just looked at it and it was just like, wow, it's so nice from the outside. I couldn't wait to go inside. And what I saw, I just was so excited. There was, some people waiting outside. They walked me in. There's the mental health. There's on the other side, it was the physical, and then they started telling me a whole lot of other stuff as we were walking. They gave me a tour. There was one section that they had like a dispensary, like a pharmacy. And it just, to me, as a social worker, I know how important it is to have that type of access and readily, available for our kids, for our families. And then to hear that we're expanding from the 14 to more.
That's the goal. That's the goal. So we always start by saying thank you. Thank you to the voters and the parents and the students who supported our bond program. And as we tried to de-densify our campuses, we want to relieve overcrowding, eliminate forced busing, and really focus on student achievement, we knew we needed to partner. And so $34 million were invested into having 14 wellness centers on our school sites. And we know wellness centers are one strategy. We have school-based clinics. We certainly have other providers, mobile units that come to our campuses. But like you said, families are best served when these services are local and easy to access.
Well, and more than anything, I think because it's familiar. They feel comfortable. It's there on campus. They know where it's at. It's just access.
So we want to learn about the wellness centers and we want to learn what they want to do, what they can do for our kids. We also want to celebrate that graduation went up in LA Unified. And so this week, the state put out its numbers for the class of 2013. LA Unified has grown again. We are now from 66 to 67.9. And I'm so proud of our students, of our employees, of all the support people around them. And when LA Unified can tell families that we're working hard to get better, I really think that our families work harder to come closer to our system.
I think it's excellent. I know it takes everybody. We don't do it alone. And when everybody has that 100% graduation, I know we'll get there one day.
That's right.
It is. It's very doable.
That's right. We also saw our students mobilize and tell the Board of Education that they want to see a student board member, student voice involved in policy. And so next year, we will have the superintendent coming and talking to us about the best way to bring student voice. But I always like to remind folks that since the time I met the school district in Board District 2, student voice has been a part of everything we do, of reducing overcrowding, of focusing on A through G, and certainly on creating local control for our schools.
I think it was beautiful to see all of our youth come out and really voice, how they felt it was important to have a voice on the board, and embracing that they matter, their voice matters. But I like that we're going to give time for the superintendent to come out with the plan and to see what that looks like, so they could we could hear exactly what are some of the things that they want to be heard and changes within their district.
That's right. And the last thing the board heard is from parents who appreciate that we've done more, but we have to do more.
Yes.
So we heard loud and clear, parents want to see us focus on where can they get resources, who can tell them about what is being offered when they walk into the school, who can greet them.
Very simple things. Can we have a space, an area where we can get our information? If it's the school report card, the meetings that are happening at school, just a centralized place. I mean, very simple things. And I know that if given that direction, we could implement this system-wide to all schools if it's not being done yet.
That's right.
Because a lot of our schools do a great job.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So some places, we know we have to do more, just like we're only at 67% graduation. We need to do more. Absolutely. There are many of our schools where a lot of parents do get good information and do feel welcomed. For those that haven't experienced that, the challenge is LA Unified, what can you do to do more?
And I know the district has tried to do is trying to do a better job, and we've had resolutions in the past that address this issue, but we still, like you said, we have a ways to go.
That's right. That's right. We'll be right back to discuss wellness centers in our schools and the many services they provide for our students.
I am a scientist.
I am a scientist.
I'm a scientist.
Science is all around us. Molecules, our body.
Our brain, our heart, our lungs.
Even when you don't expect it, there's organisms so small that you can't see with the human eye.
Small things become great things.
We all are very capable of doing science no matter who we are.
Everything from art to cooking to riding a skateboard is science. Getting these kids to redefine science is what we're after.
You don't really know something until you've done it hands-on.
I like to experiment a lot.
Discovering something new and to do it for myself and to understand how it works is just a great feeling.
So what are you going to learn
about the human body?
What's neuroscience? Can you tell me about that?
So isn't it the study of the brain?
Science is almost everything, and I want to know more.
None of us really know where all those basics that we're learning in school are going to take us. If they get that passion sparked, it could lead to something that they don't even know about in the future.
When I was younger, I didn't want to be a firefighter or astronaut. I wanted to be a chef. I didn't even know food science existed, but miraculously, I landed an internship at the USDA's Foodborne Contaminants Research Unit.
Internships are always the best way to go because you're actually getting experience. I can inspire them because I know they can do the same.
Science, technology, engineering, and math are skills that industries today need.
Thousands of jobs students have no idea that they exist. Medical sciences, computer sciences, engineering, architecture, construction.
There's this whole world out there. No matter where you go, you'll always find a certain niche for you.
We want you to have a career where you can change your life and change your community.
I need to do something when I get older that involves biology.
I want to be a doctor when I grow up. I like helping people. I hope someday to be a famous scientist.
I want to be a vet because I like animals. Maybe some people know what they want to do already. Some people don't. They're still trying to find themselves.
It's finding the thing you love and then going for it.
Welcome back to Families Matter. Joining us now to discuss the importance of wellness centers on our campuses and how they provide students with access to health services are Dr. Felix Aguilar, President and CEO of UMA Community Clinic, and Dr. Ruby Raya Morones from the South Central Family Health Centers. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
We are so excited that you are here to tell us of a practice that is already deep in our schools.
Oh, it's so good.
So you are, Dr. Aguilar, tell us.
Well, I know the community clinics, we have been really, really big supporters of this. We have been really so excited that the school district partnered with us to open these wellness centers, these clinics in the high schools, because they're open both for students and also for the community members, for the community around the schools.
And do you find that the community, welcomed the Welcome Center right away, or did it take time?
It took some time. mostly because we're working in high schools. And a lot of, in contrast to like elementary schools, which parents are there like every day, high schools, parents tend to stay out a little bit less, a little less engaged. So you do require more involvement. We have two strategies. One is student engagement, so the students get involved with the clinic. And the second one is community engagement. So we let the community know what we're doing, the service. We're primary care clinic, so we provide those kind of services.
So you are a partner with Fremont High School,
yes,
right? Give us a little bit of the history. Tell us how it came to be, and what do you actually offer for our students and their families?
Well, Monica, 4 years ago, when this process started, the school district came to us and said, would you like to do this? And of course, this is such a great opportunity. So our situation was a little different than other schools because some of the schools had a dedicated, let's suppose I knew some schools that some area of the building, or the actual building, was converted into a clinic. Ours, we had just an open field on a corner of 79th and Avalon. It was part of the yard, the maintenance yard of the school. It was a big campus. And so ours was, ground up. And therefore, it not only does it include the clinic, but also includes a community garden. So we're working on issues of nutrition, physical activity. We have another partner, the LA Neighborhood Land Trust. They're the ones in charge of the community garden because they know how to do that. They know how to train people how to grow stuff, and teach them how to have a green thumb, which I don't. Oh, well, good. So, that's the kind of stuff.
We don't have a garden. But like Felix's clinic, our clinic was built from the ground up. It's brand new. It's a beautiful facility. It's connected to the school, so the students don't have to go off campus to get into the clinic.
I'm sorry, what school?
Yes. I represent the Jefferson Wellness Center. It's on the corner of Hooper and 44th Street. And we have two entrances. One is from the school, and the other entrance is from the community. So the students don't actually go out into the street. They come straight into the clinic. They get buzzed in, and then they get, sent back to their classrooms. But it was like built from the ground up because of the partnership with LA Unified and the LA Trust. So
And how long has the clinic been open at
the clinic
Wellness Center?
the Jefferson Wellness Center has been open since the fall of 2012. And we've seen a lot of students. I think about probably 2/3 of our patients are students. And it did take a while, as Felix said, it took a while to get them engaged, but we have a liaison with the high school, and she assists us with getting parent consent. So if the student has a parent consent on file, the student, if they got sick or if they sprained their ankle, or if they had questions that they didn't want their parents to know about, which we title sensitive issues, they can come to the clinic and get services. And then if it's something serious, we suspect they broke their bone or something, we would call the parents. But the students have access to come to the clinic. They feel comfortable. We have all really young providers at the clinic. Dr. Emma Smith went to Harvard and USC. And then we have two PAs, Gustavo Roldan, a physician assistant. I'm sorry. So we have a physician assistant, Gustavo Roldan and Monica Concinos, and they interact so well with the adolescents. And I think the whole purpose of having a wellness center is to teach the students to speak up for themselves, because I'm a pediatrician, and I tell you, adolescents, when they come with their parents, they don't say anything. But if they have to go see a provider on their own, they have to speak up because there's no one there. So in a sense, we're teaching them to be advocates for their own health and to begin to manage their own health.
That's wonderful. So I heard you say that creating the access on the school site really reduces barriers for our students.
Yes.
And that's one of the great advantages that we're trying to do. I mean, part of these ideas is that we the students that do not get charged at all. They don't pay anything for their visits. Because if you're going to start saying, well, you have a copay or the students are going to go, they cannot do
So
that.
students who access our wellness centers do not pay for
Not a
mental
nickel,
health
nothing.
or medical health.
They do not pay anything.
Wow.
That's part of the agreement. Now, we can bill if the student has medical or other, we can bill them, but not the student. So that's number one.
And there won't be any student that will be turned away. In other words,
that's the other part of that. Not turning anybody away. The other part is that we're also providing sensitive services. That's the other barrier that we talked about, which is our schools are in a hot zone for teen pregnancy. And we want to provide people with the access to family planning services. Now in California, teenagers can have 5 what they call sensitive services that they can agree on their own. They don't need a parental consent. Those being family planning, prenatal, postnatal, some STD treatment or testing, and the last one has to do with some immunizations. It's HPV, the human papillomavirus, they can get it on their own. So any of those services, they can show up to the clinic and they don't need any consent. They can just ask for it and we will provide it.
But you also have services for their families.
Yes, that's the other part.
So tell us a little bit about how families know about
how
the
they
services
access.
and when a family comes to a wellness center, what can they expect?
Well, the family is greeted and then kind of given an option of what kind of appointments they want, because we provide general medicine appointments, we provide immunizations only, we provide a full physical under the CHDP program, and that's something they wouldn't have to pay for. And also adults in the neighborhood who want family planning services, those are also free. If they have an insurance that could be assigned to our group, then we become their primary care providers. They become our families. We take care of them as a primary care provider. The students who come to see us who are not, who have insurance or who have a primary care provider outside of our clinics, we have to communicate with their primary care provider. But those that are our patients, we take full responsibility. And we also provide mental health services, not only for the students, but also for the community in general. And there's for mental health services, there's probably 5 or 6 different reasons they come for services. They come for depression, anxiety, they come for suicide risk, they come for trauma. That's also considered under one of those sensitive issues. So if there was trauma or sexual abuse, they can seek services without a consent initially. If they need ongoing services, then we get the families involved. And then, of course, they always come for relationship problems. So we have a licensed clinical social worker who's on site every week, and she helps them with a lot. So recently we've had the providers, Dr. Smith and Marina, who's our LCSW, go into the high school, into the classrooms, and kind of give them a brief little 20-minute presentation at their homerooms about, Marina's doing healthy relationships, so that students kind of, know how to stay out of unhealthy relationships, and, she's kind of helping prevent domestic abuse. Well,
Sure.
That kind of stuff.
And it's so important that we may understand what mental health is, but for our students and some of our families, not feeling good every day, not feeling energized, not feeling motivated, not feeling comfortable, all of these things can often get some support, some help by talking with somebody, right? Helping build your resilience, helping build the self-esteem, helping learn strategies of coping. And so often we think, oh, does mental health mean I'm crazy? Absolutely not. It means
even
I think it's
to say they're
just a
crazy.
safe space.
Yes.
It's a safe space.
That's right.
it's this comfort zone that it's on campus.
Right.
I think that's huge for a lot of our kids.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I see patients, and I saw one of the things we do is that all of our patients, they get screened for depression. Just a short screener, a few questions here and there that ask them about how they're feeling, how their energy level, are they sad, or have they thought about committing suicide, questions like that. One of the kids that I saw came for a soccer team, a physical. And when I looked at his questions, I went like, what's going on here? And it was a kid suffering from depression. I've not mentioned it to anybody. He was basically, like you said, feeling like, there's something wrong with me, so I shouldn't tell anybody. That was basically what he was thinking. And so we were able to start, getting referrals, get family involved. Because what happens is teenagers like that are at a high risk of substance abuse, suicide, dropping out of school. Because everybody thinks, he's just, tired, or he sleeps too much, or things like that. And in reality, he's suffering of clinical depression.
Right, right. And I think that when we can address depression, we're going to address our dropout rate. And I just wanted to bring it back to the reason LA Unified invested in the Wellness Center strategy is because we are unsatisfied with our current rate of academic achievement. So we challenged ourselves to reduce absences. We challenged ourselves to reduce suspensions, which is always related to behavior. We challenged ourselves to include more partners. So it's not, LA Unified has a mental health unit, we have health and human services. Some of our schools have amazing, talented support services.
Most definitely.
Part of the challenge is Fremont at one point was 4,700 kids. Maybe today it's closer to 2,000.
Close to 2,000.
Jefferson was close to 4,000 kids. Maybe today it's closer to 2,000. But at some point, we know that what mattered needed to be focused on. And personalization and decentralization of the strategy, saying maybe Jefferson can create something that doesn't have to be at Fremont, but Fremont can create what works for Fremont, right? But both of those communities can create a partnership that supports the school and supports the goal of academic wellness. Imagine that.
And I think that's the message. When a child is healthy, they're ready to learn. We know that. We know that. And I think just the message of just having the wellness centers on our campus, that's what resonates. Healthy children are ready to learn.
That is correct.
So for someone who is not sure that schools should be in the business of wellness centers and healthcare, how would you address that concern?
Well, what are the most important things that you need in order to get out of poverty? You need your health and you need an education. And if you don't have those two things, you continue to live that same cycle of being poor. I grew up in East LA. I went to Roosevelt High School.
Go Rough Riders.
I know. So I recently went back and talked to the high school students. I was invited by the principal, and I talked about, how to get into college, right? And so I told them the story about my mom, how, she went back and got her GED and then went to East LA College, and how that inspired me. So I challenged all those parents, to go out and get more education for themselves, if only to show their students that it can be done. But like you said, if someone's suffering from a medical illness or mental health illness, it does interfere with their schooling. So I think we really need to partner together.
There's research that says that, students, that have a wellness center are, 3 times less. Kids that don't have a wellness center are 3 times more, they miss a lot more school. If there's a wellness center on site, there's a lot of that preventative care that takes place.
There's definitely that research. Asthma is, for example, the most common chronic disease for teens and also associated with missing school, absenteeism. There's all kinds, of course, dropping out because you're pregnant. all kinds of stuff like that. Now, we're there to give people choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I met some young girls who do want to have their kids, and we provide the prenatal care. But we provide them we give them the choice to decide what is it that they want to do.
So families that are looking for family planning, for dental care, for vision screenings, for we talked about mental health and the medical services. All of that is available.
Yes.
But also the relationship with the community is different on our schools, right? So more community stakeholders are responsible for the achievement at Fremont.
Yes.
Or are more community stakeholders are interested in the young people at Jefferson. Talk about how important it is for communities to be part of schools.
One of the directives of community clinics is that half of our board members have to be patients. So from the beginning, we are very focused on our communities. Our mission is about providing access to those communities. And so recently we had a door-to-door campaign to let people know that we're at the high school in Fremont. And it was one of our board members who helped us get volunteers to do this, to go out in the community. And that's the kind of engagement that I mentioned earlier, the community engagement, to bring folks into the clinic to show them the services that they can receive. And so that kind of engagement is really, really important.
But I think sometimes the community is not aware of your catchment area. So I think that piece is really important to let the community know that this is available to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and most people don't know that the wellness centers have feeder schools.
Yes.
So for instance, at Jefferson, one of our feeder schools is Nava, and the other one is Hooper Elementary. And any area within like 5-mile radius, those are considered our feeder schools. So if you attend one of those schools, you can come get services at the clinic for free.
Wonderful. Well, this has been wonderful. Let me just ask a quick question because we got to wrap up. Should LA Unified continue partnering with wellness centers?
Oh, definitely.
Yes. Okay, we want more success, we want more health, and we want stronger, healthier relationships. Thank you both for being with us.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us on
Thank
Families Matter. Please visit our family website, families.lausd.net and parentaccess.lausd.net. Your involvement makes all the difference. See you next month, and remember, families matter.